stop for a moment, because I need you to face a truth that most relationship advice is too scared to say out loud. Have you ever wondered why the good woman, the loyal one, the supportive one, the one who gives and gives, often ends up feeling invisible? She does everything right. She's reliable, she's available, she's understanding, she keeps the peace. She sacrifices, she tries harder, and yet he drifts. He gets comfortable, he starts taking her for granted. He stops pursuing. The spark fades, then you see him with another woman, and suddenly he's different. He's focused, he's present, he's protective, he's almost obsessed. Not because she's perfect, not because she never argues. Sometimes she's not even the nicest. But there's something about her that hits him at a deeper level. So what is it? Is it beauty? Is it luck? Is it timing? No. Most of the time, the difference is not what she does for him. The difference is what she awakens in him. And that's where this gets serious. Because love and worship are not the same thing. Love can be comfort. Love can be companionship. Love can be stability. But worship is primal. Worship is when a man doesn't just enjoy you. He feels like losing you would rip something out of his soul. Now, I need to be responsible here. This video is not about trapping someone. It's not about controlling someone. It's not about training someone with punishment. Because manipulation doesn't create love. It creates addiction, resentment, and chaos. What I'm going to give you is deeper. It's about identity. It's about self-respect. It's about understanding the unconscious forces that shape attraction and building the kind of inner foundation that makes the right man rise and makes the wrong man vanish. And I have to warn you, once you understand it, you can't unsee it. You'll look back and realize the exact moment you gave your power away. Not because you weren't good enough, but because you abandoned yourself to be chosen. Now, to explain why this works, we need to talk about Carl Jung. Jung understood something modern dating culture ignores. He saw that romantic obsession often has less to do with the other person, and more to do with what the unconscious projects onto them. In Jung's work, a man carries an inner feminine image in his psyche. He called it the anima, and when that inner image is not integrated, when a man doesn't actually know himself, he goes searching for it outside of himself. In women.in lovers, in the one, this is why early love can feel like religion, because he isn't only seeing you, he's seeing meaning, he's seeing the missing piece of himself, and here is the mechanism: projection. Let me make it simple. Imagine a movie theater. He is the projector. Inside the projector is a film. His fantasies, his unmet emotional needs, his hunger for beauty, softness, depth, inspiration, meaning. You are the screen. When the screen is clear and spacious, the film looks incredible. And for a time, he doesn't just love you, he feels spellbound. He sees you as rare. He sees you as special. He sees you as the answer. That's the honeymoon, that's the obsession, that's the worship. But here's where most women lose it. They panic. They try to secure it. They start explaining, connecting, functioning. They try to become the movie. They flood the relationship with anxiety. They demand constant reassurance. They chase, they interrogate, they leak every emotion the moment it appears. And the moment you become emotionally dependent, the screen cracks, the projection breaks, the lights come on, and now he sees reality. Not the goddess, not the muse, just a stressed human who needs him to regulate her emotions, and a man can love that person, but he cannot worship a dynamic where he feels like the parent. So the question becomes, how do you keep your power? How do you keep desire alive? How do you stay a woman, not a function, a partner, not a caretaker? I call the core trait mystical autonomy, and it means this: you are warm but not needy. You are open but not porous. You are loving but not self-abandoning. You are present but not possessed. You have your own inner world, your own gravity, your own peace, your own standards, and that combination is rare now. Before we get into the 7 laws, let me show you the most common tragedy. A woman meets a man, and she finally feels chosen, and it's like water in a desert. She thinks, finally, safety, finally, I can relax. So she starts proving her worth. She becomes useful, she becomes the fixer, the counselor, the manager, the mother. She anticipates his moods. She cooks, cleans, supports, forgives. She explains what he meant. She gives him the benefit of the doubt. She bends, and one day she wakes up and realizes she is doing everything, and he is doing nothing. And the worst part is, she can't even feel angry, because she trained herself to be grateful for crumbs. That's not love. That's survival. Now you might be thinking, but if I don't give, won't he leave? Here's the brutal truth. The wrong man leaves anyway. He leaves when you stop over-functioning. He leaves when you ask for effort. He leaves when you have standards. And that's a gift. Because what we are doing here is not chasing men. We are building a life and a nervous system that only the right man can enter. 7 laws, 7 principles, and I want you to listen to these in a specific way, not as manipulation, but as self-respect. Because if you use these principles to control someone, it will rot your soul. But if you use them to become whole, they will filter your relationships. The right man will step up. The wrong man will disappear. And that is a win. Law 1. The power of what you don't say. Here's a story. Imagine a woman who meets a man and instantly starts explaining herself. She tells him why she's anxious, why she's been hurt, why she needs reassurance, why she gets triggered, why she overthinks, why she's afraid of being left, and she thinks she's being honest. But what she's actually doing is this. She's asking him to manage her. She's handing him an instruction manual that says, here are all the ways I collapse. Please hold me. And some men will enjoy that, not because they're strong, but because they like power. They like being needed, and later, that same need becomes the reason they resent you. Because neediness feels like a debt they didn't agree to pay forever. Now, we live in an era of radical exposure. People confuse intimacy with dumping. They think closeness means telling someone everything immediately. Your trauma, your fears, your insecurities, your entire past, all on the first date. But here's the truth. Intimacy is not the same as exposure. Intimacy is paced. Intimacy unfolds. Intimacy is earned. If you give a man the entire map of your soul instantly, the journey ends before it begins. There's no discovery, no unfolding, no reverence. So, the first law is simple. Keep a part of your inner world sacred. Not because you're hiding, but because you're honoring your pace. You do not owe anyone immediate access to your deepest layers, and sometimes the most magnetic response is not a full explanation. It's a calm smile. It's, "I'm just thinking." It's, "I'll tell you later." That's not manipulation. That's maturity. It signals, "I have an inner life, and I don't betray it for approval." Now, let me make this practical. If you are someone who overshares because you want to, feel safe. Try this. The next time you feel the urge to explain everything, pause. Ask yourself, am I sharing to connect, or am I sharing to secure? Because connection is calm. Security, seeking is urgent, and urgency kills. MYSTERYLAW2. Emotional containment. This is where modern relationships collapse. Because people don't feel too much. They leak too much. They treat their partner like an emotional dumping ground. They have a bad day and instantly unload it. They feel insecure and demand reassurance. They feel anxious and start interrogating. Do you love me? Why didn't you text? Who were you with? Are you losing interest? And without realizing it, they create a parent-child dynamic. A man might tolerate it, but worship cannot live there, because worship requires safety. And safety isn't no emotions. Safety is containment. Containment means you can feel deeply, without spilling everywhere. It means when a storm rises in you, you don't outsource the regulation of that storm to him. You sit with it, you breathe, you slow down, you process, you choose your words, and then you communicate from truth, not reaction. Now, let me give you a powerful image. A storm in the ocean. Some women become the storm. They crash into everyone. They drown the room. They demand attention with waves. But the rare woman, she becomes the deep sea. She can hold a storm inside her, without losing her center. So instead of "you're ignoring me," you say, "when you disappear without communicating, it doesn't work for me." Instead of "I feel crazy," you say, "I'm noticing anxiety. I'm going to ground myself, and then we'll talk." That is power. Because it shows emotional intelligence. Now, let's add a micro-dash practice. The next time your nervous system spikes, try this sequence. Breathe in for 4. Hold for 2. Exhale for 6. Do it 3 times. Then ask, what is the clean request here? What is the boundary? What is the truth? When you communicate from that place, you don't beg. You state. Law 3. Radical sovereignty. In physics, gravity is created by mass. The object with the most mass pulls everything toward it. In relationships, the person with the most inner life has the most mass. Purpose. Routine. Mission. Joy. Self. Respect. Friends. A life. But what do most people do the moment they fall in love? They shrink. They cancel their gym. They stop creating. They drop their friends. They abandon their goals. They become a satellite, orbiting him, and they call it devotion. But in the unconscious, it reads as disappearance. Asterisk, because the more you orbit, the less you exist. And here is the painful irony. The more you shrink your life, the more the relationship becomes your oxygen. And when someone becomes your oxygen, you tolerate suffocation. Radical sovereignty means your life stays the main event. He is not the center of your universe. He is a VIP guest in a world you already built. So if he calls last minute, you don't leap, you don't betray yourself for access. You check your compass. Do I want this? Does this align with my life? Am I free? Genuinely free? And if you're not, you say, I can't tonight. I already have plans, even if those plans are with yourself. Now here's the part that changes everything. Sovereignty is not just external, it's internal. It's not just having hobbies, it's having self-trust. It's knowing if he leaves, I will still be okay. And that self-trust is the foundation of true magnetism. Law for standards and consequences. Now we get into behavior. When a man is inconsistent, immature, lazy, or disrespectful, the good woman tries to fix him with words. She explains, she lectures, she begs, she negotiates, and she becomes his mother. And men rebel against their mothers. So the fourth law is, stop over-explaining. Use clarity, then consequence, and I need to be very clear. This is not silent treatment. Silent treatment is punishment. It's manipulation. A boundary is different. A boundary is different. A boundary is self-protection. It is I remove myself from what harms me. So here's how it looks. You communicate once. I'm not okay with that. I need reliability. I don't do disrespect. This behavior will end the connection. Then you watch. If he changes, great. If he doesn't, you don't escalate. You leave, and some of you will feel fear right here. You will think, but if I leave, I lose him. Listen, if you need to abandon your dignity to keep someone, you never had them. You only had a performance. Standards are the price of entry, and the right man pays them gladly. Law 5. Self-investment. Some people call it divine selfishness. Let's make it real. You treat yourself like you matter. Not as a quote, as a standard. Sleep, nutrition, movement, learning, beauty, creativity, spiritual practice. Rest, silence, boundaries. Because when you are depleted, you will accept crumbs, you will chase reassurance, you will tolerate disrespect just to feel chosen. But when you are full, you become selective, and selectiveness is rare. Now, let me give you a harsh but liberating line. Stop proving your love through suffering. Stop thinking sacrifice equals devotion. In the economy of desire, constant sacrifice becomes depreciation. If you treat yourself like you are the last priority, you train him to treat you that way too. So you pay yourself first, emotionally, financially, energetically, you invest in your well-being like it's non-negotiable, and paradoxically, when you take yourself seriously, the world takes you seriously. Now here's a micro practice. Write down 3 non-negotiables. 1 for your body, 1 for your mind, 1 for your spirit. And commit to them for 30 days, because nothing changes until your daily habits change. Law 6. Space as a gift. This one is hard for anxious hearts, because anxious attachment thinks, if I'm not constantly present, I'll be forgotten. So you overtext, over-check, over-explain, over-available, but desire, needs. Oxygen, you cannot miss what never leaves. You cannot long for what is always present. And this is not about playing games. This is about rhythm. Healthy relationships breathe. Togetherness, then space, connection, then autonomy, so. You take your weekends, you see your friends, You build your life. You don't fill every silence with noise. You let him feel your absence, sometimes because absence doesn't create love, but it reveals love. If he values you, he comes forward. If he only liked the convenience, he fades. And again, that's the filter. Now, I want you to hear something that might sting. If someone only wants you when you are constantly available, they don't want you. They want access, and access is cheap. You are not cheap. Law 7, the spiritual challenge. This is the final difference between the nice girl and the muse. Nice girl love is maternal. It comforts him no matter what. It applauds him for doing the bare minimum. It lowers the bar so he never feels pressure. But here's the truth. Every masculine man wants a quest. He wants to rise. He wants to become more. And the muse doesn't nag. She doesn't lecture. She embodies excellence. And her presence carries a silent demand. Rise. Not because she's cruel. Because she respects his potential enough not to enable mediocrity. So if he is wasting his life, lazy, stagnant, careless, you don't become his manager. You don't become his mother. You simply stop engaging with that version of him. You hold the bar, and a good man will feel it like electricity. He'll sharpen, he'll step up. He'll lead because your standards awaken his best self. Now we need to talk about Jung's shadow, because this is where people get dangerous. Jung taught that what we don't own in ourselves, we act out unconsciously. So if you don't own your fear of abandonment, you will act it out as control. If you don't own your rage, you will act it out as passive aggression. If you don't own your need for validation, you will act it out as performance. Shadow work is not trendy. It's not aesthetics. It's accountability. And a rare woman is not the one who pretends she has no shadow. She's the one who can look at it without collapsing. She can say, yes, I want love, but she doesn't make love a substitute for sex. Now, before we end, I must give you a serious warning. These principles are powerful. They touch something primal. And because they're powerful, they can be misused. The dark side of the muse is the siren. The siren doesn't inspire growth. She drains. She uses mystery to confuse. She uses distance to control. She uses coldness to punish. And yes, she can trigger obsession, but obsession without respect turns into resentment. So do not become the siren. If you use these principles to manipulate, you will attract unstable men. Men who chase and hate. Men who obsess and retaliate. Men who love the game, not you. Use this power to build mutual respect, not to trap someone. Second warning. You can do everything right, and he still won't rise. And that doesn't mean you failed. It means he doesn't have the capacity. Remember the metaphor. You are the screen, but he is the projector. If the projector is broken, emotionally bankrupt, narcissistic, empty, addicted to chaos, there is nothing beautiful to project. You cannot display a masterpiece on a broken machine. So these principles become a filtration system. A high-value man will feel intrigued. He will step up. He will respect the boundary. He will rise to meet your sovereignty. A low-value man will feel threatened and fade. Let him fade. His departure is not rejection. It's an eviction, the universe clearing space. Now we come to the paradox. The reason you clicked on a video like this is because you want to be chosen. You want to be valued. You want to be pursued. You want to feel like you matter. But here is what happens when you truly embody mystical autonomy, when you build your life, when you regulate your emotions, when you pace intimacy, when you hold standards, when you invest in yourself, when you stop chasing. By the time you become the woman who could inspire worship, you no longer need it. You stop begging at the altar of his validation because you built your own temple. And that is what Jung was really pointing toward. Not how to get a man, but individuation. The process of becoming whole. A relationship becomes a mirror. If you are empty, you will accept neglect. If you are full, you will demand respect, not loudly, but naturally. Because your standards become effortless when your self-worth is real. So the ultimate goal is not to make him obsessed. The ultimate goal is to become so deeply anchored in your own life that love becomes an addition, not a rescue. And when you reach that state, the right man becomes obsessed with keeping you. Not because you manipulated him, but because you became rare, you became whole. Now listen, being an unforgettable woman is not one moment. It's a daily practice. It's a decision you make every morning. I will not abandon myself today. I will not shrink for love today. I will not betray my standards today. I will not leak my power today. I will build, I will grow, I will honor my peace. I will choose myself, and the men who can meet you there will stay. The men who can't will fall away, and that's how it should be. If you're ready to live this path, not the path of the good girl, but the path of the sovereign woman, then you are in the right place. Subscribe to this channel, because we don't do games here. We master the depths of psychology. We build relationships where desire and respect can coexist. And remember, don't build a temple for him. Build it for yourself. And watch the world come to pray. Thank you for watching. And remember, you are the muse.